foundation of all the AI algorithm is something called back propagation, right? The packages and the number of the jobs in semiconductor and electronics are very good.
10 to 15,000 would be the requirement, I would say, from now for looking for the next 5 years, consistently growing at least 5 to 7% or 8%. That's the kind of the number.
Institutions are today ready to give you the space. We will give you the space. Please come out and set up some centers. Give us the tools so that students, faculty, and people from industry can work together in these centers and come up with some viable solutions.
Manufacturing is hard for hands-on, dirt under the email stuff that requires mechanical engineering.
More than half a decade kind of dollars worth of services available, market is there for semiconductor. And that has grown in the last 4 decades or so. Last 40 years. This will happen again. The doubling of the industry is going to happen in the next 10 years or a decade.
Thank you all of you to be here. My association with CareerNet family, now which has expanded into multiple companies, Pro, Indigo, Plant-Based, has been almost 21 years ago when I think Rohit, Anshuman and Rishi were just basically out of college from IT. So glad to see that basically they have expanded in many dimensions and made very successful companies, especially in the education and hiring and now Indicube in the workspace area, right? So I'm very glad to see you all prosper and grow. I think our topic for today's discussion is more of technology, especially electronics and semiconductor with certain areas of specialization. To just set a context, today in India, we consume almost $200 billion of electronics across various devices. We are basically number 2 in the mobile manufacturing and number 1 in the digital payment and data consumption also. Thanks to all the college investors, late night binge watching, which made us basically number 1 in data consumption today across the world. Now, out of this $200 billion of consumption of electronics, almost $40 billion of it is semiconductor, which is the backbone of the electronics devices which we consume. And because of the growth in electronics and semiconductor, India has been able to establish a large, what we can call it, digital public infrastructure, which is growing at a population scale. And in the previous panel, the founder of Internship and the Aadhaar was there. All of this has been possible because of the last 30 years of growth in electronics and semiconductor. I think all of you will realize that today we want basically 256 GB on our phone and 8 GB, 16 GB RAM, right? Somebody showed a BlackBerry, right? When we were growing up, probably having a small spectrum computer with the 8 kilobyte was the total memory available, right? From there to basically today we have come here, and I think most of us will agree that last few years and the next decade is going to be very much influenced by artificial intelligence, right? Again, the whole growth in the last 7-8 years in the artificial intelligence, one of the prime reason is the amount of the computing power which semiconductor devices are provided and amount of the storage which basically memory guys are provided. Just to recollect, when I was doing my PhD in 1988-89, I worked for 1 year in AI and neural networks, right? Algorithms are very similar, and some of the faculty will agree that foundation of all the AI algorithm is something called backpropagation, right? Whether it's a transformer or anything, this is the backpropagation is the backbone. And to simulate a small neural network of 500 nodes, we needed a small supercomputer. Okay. From there, we are on today, where basically OpenAI, which is basically now going to 10 billion parameters, right? All of that has been possible because of the growth in the processing power of the semiconductor chips and basically the memory they offer. Without that, basically AI will be solving only toy problem, where LLMs will be VSLM, very small language models only, it will not be large language models, right? Growth in AI is one thing, but sectors like electrical vehicles, space, all of that is witnessed because of the growth in electronics and semiconductors. And India has put very strong foot forward in the last 10 years by announcing very progressive semiconductor policy and things like PLI, production linked incentive in various sectors of electronics, including the electric vehicle, battery, mobile productions, and so many others. Right? So with that background, we will basically debate that what is the landscape for opportunity for our graduating students in these emerging areas, and what should academia and industry do together to help our students realize their potential, and what is very exciting, and we have had many conversation about the package so far, right? Basically, so just to give a perspective that it may not be very much known to students and the parents, right? The packages and the number of the jobs in semiconductor and electronics are very good, okay? And they provide a very good career. I think they are basically as good or better packages in semiconductor industry. If you get basically a chip designer job or job in semiconductor manufacturing, I think the number of the jobs and then the packages are also very good. So that's a positive message of the colleges, professors, students, and parents we wanted to go. So we have 4 esteemed guests, 2 from industry, Vipin and Chitra, and 2 from academia. Other very good mix of people. I think there is a lot of buzz around semiconductor manufacturing. Probably 10 years back, when we go around and tell somebody, I work in semiconductor area, you have to give a 10-minute explanation, what do you do? Today, it's sufficient to say we work in semiconductor area and people do understand what do you do, right? So that's a good sign for things to come, right? So you can start basically from left to right and get each of the panelists' individual view on growth of electronics and semiconductor industry, as well as the job opportunities which are there in the thing. And as we go, we will discuss more interesting in that topic around that. Chitra?
Sure, Satya. Thank you. Thanks, Rohit and team for the opportunity. It's always good to see high pro career-led IndiCube folks in person, in action. Satya has already mentioned that we've been seeing your success from the day when we started and stuff like this. Thanks very much for that. So, opportunities, Satya, yes, Semicon, we are in the right place, plenty of opportunities. Yes, there is a little bit of bleakness that we are seeing because a lot of people who are all sitting there have reached out to me and they have asked, okay, is your company hiring? And then we have not seen, I'm being very blatant and open here, we have not been able to kind of place in the previous quarters and stuff like that. But the point is, things are in the revival mode. Definitely, we are hiring semiconductor industry. There is humongous opportunities. Just on the opportunity front, going by the numbers, Satya, my estimate would be connecting with kind of taking the stats through multiple reports and stuff like that. It's like 10 to 15,000 would be the requirement, I would say, from now for looking for the next 5 years, consistently growing at least maybe 5 to 7% or 8%. That's the kind of the number. So I want to leave you all with a great hope that there is humongous hiring that you are seeing, you will start seeing, and the industry is growing. We are in the right place. Okay, what areas we are hiring? Number one, chip design. I mean, we all know it is all the MNCs have a presence here. Chip design is bread and butter, and there is a lot of hiring happening in that front. What is going to change, or what would be the required change? Would be, I would say that there will be a lot of design opportunities, architectural opportunities, product build opportunities that are going to happen from India, even from Genesis. What we are trying to see is how we can use our boards and then our chips to see whether we can build products that could be for Indian consumption, that could be for the world. I mean, that's the kind of the trend that I'm seeing, Satya. So, what we need to do for building more of this product build mindset, I was just discussing with Sridhar and other educational academia folks. How do we inculcate the product build mindset in the mind of students starting from the B.Tech level? Right? I mean, can we create the right intervention? Can we do some amount of the course curriculum intervention at 5th semester, at 6th semester, maybe? And can we make the boards and reference design kits as part of the curriculum? That way they come out with the product build mindset. Shankar was showing a product about the BlackBerry phone. I was fortunate to be part of designing that and stuff like that. But the point is, if we start inculcating the product build mindset in the students, and if we start making them attach pride towards the product that we build, I think succeed in a big way. That's what I would say.
Thank you, Chitra.
Yeah, I think Chitra was very interesting because he was good for thought for all the academicians just as the semicon industry is concerned. My gut feeling is I think B.Tech would be a little late to inculcate interest in the semicon area. Probably we'll have to get back to schools. Because today when you look at the B.Tech course preference, the first to stand out is computer science and its variants. And only then they get into the other core branches. But unfortunately, the core engineering is probably pushed a little back of late. I think we as academicians and people from the industry should put in all our best efforts to ensure that the core engineering branches are here to stay. One key things that most institutions are doing and I would like them to do is create an awareness about the branches of engineering even before they get into the +2 level. Because +2 would be a little late. At the school, once they are into grade 8 or grade 9 or before they finish grade 10, I think probably we as teachers and the industries may visit some of the schools and then tell them about what is in store for them going ahead. Otherwise, there's going to be a huge mismatch in the years to come. And with the rate at which some of these sectors are growing today, especially the manufacturing sector, is definitely going to be finding short of semicon industries, number one. That is at the school level. At the +2 level, I think students should get an awareness as to where their passion lies, where their interest lies, so that they can accordingly make an informed choice when they get into these professional courses. Having got into the professional course, I think today we can't build walls between departments. It should be more interdisciplinary. It should be more multidisciplinary. Something needs to be done to say that, hey, semicon is not my area of interest. It has something to do with electronics and communication. Let them work on that. Or, for example, I keep giving this example to my students. Today, an automobile is more electronics than mechanical. very, very essential. I think we need to understand this hard-hitting fact. So a mechanical engineer cannot say, I don't know about sensors, let the electronics guy take care of it. So it is very essential that we bring together all these kids on a common platform, allow them to think, allow them to brainstorm and come out with viable solutions for the problems that is there. It is just an example, even the health sector, all of us know that during COVID, how much of problems were there as far as the non-availability of chips. And we had to really struggle a lot. And that should not come back again is what my gut feeling is. The one thing that industries could do is probably go ahead and set up a few centers and institutions. Institutions are today ready to give you the space. We will give you the space. Please come out and set up some centers. Give us the tools so that students, faculty, and even people from industry can work together in these sectors and come up with some viable solutions. Throw your problem areas at schools. They will be able to come out because today, trust me, as a teacher, I find it extremely difficult to hold the attention level of my student. The attention span is so less. 10 to 12 minutes after the class starts, they get into a slumber. How do I make my class more interesting? Get them to a level where they can apply their mind to what they have on hand. And today, every kid is gadget savvy. You take a cell phone, I mean, you can silence it only with a cell phone and not with anything else. So therefore, when you talk to them about the gadgets that they have, it could be their watches, it could be their cell phones, it could be their laptops, anything for that matter, if you probably try to connect what is there inside to say what the child needs to know, I think it will make interesting learning, which is very, very important in today's context. That is what I would like to say at this point in time. More to come. I will like my co-panelist, who is also an academician, to throw some more light on the one that we will be discussing.
How many of you have heard of the India Semiconductor Mission? And that's the problem. Let me just preface this. I'm not a government spokesperson, but I think that is the context in which this panel is there and we should talk about it. So India Semiconductor Mission is Indian government trying to kickstart manufacturing in semiconductor, design and manufacturing in semiconductors across India. This is India trying to pull off a Maruti in semiconductor space. So if you're in 1980s and India did not have a car industry, only had a Mazda, India basically threw money at the problem, got Suzuki to come, have a joint venture with the government, established Maruti, and today India is one of the leading exporters in automobile components. India is trying to do the same thing with semiconductors. And on the table is $10 billion. So whenever government puts in $10 billion and tries to say, okay, 50% capex, the rest industry puts in, you are looking at an investment of $20-25 billion. You can correct me if my numbers are off. Whenever that kind of money is on the table, jobs are bound to follow. All we have to do is understand where they are, what skills they need, and then execute. So one of the hopeful messages is this is going to grow. There is just no way that 25 billion doesn't go into an ecosystem and nothing comes out of it. Point number 2. For aid and other responsibilities, I travel. I am from ISC, and ISC has some unique challenges, but when I travel, I often visit private universities that are state universities. And one of the crying issues is students don't come into mechanical engineering, civil, chemical engineering jobs anymore. We have faculty, but they have no students to teach. Semiconductor manufacturing, and not talking about design now, I'm talking about manufacturing, is actually a way out of this. Unlike design, which is often done on software tools in front of laptops in places like Bangalore, manufacturing is hardcore, hands-on, dirt under the fingernail stuff that requires mechanical engineers. If you go to lab research and applied materials, which make equipment for semiconductor manufacturing, I would not be surprised if 50% of their engineers in Bangalore are mechanical engineers. They work in the electronics industry, but they are the engineers or mechanical engineers. The other 30% in these two companies are probably power engineers. The people who make electrical boxes and relay boxes, etc. The point here is that all those disciplines and all the faculty in those disciplines that do not have students to teach, you can actually train those people with those core disciplines for semiconductor manufacturing industry and find good jobs, and the students will find good jobs. So that's the hopeful message. All we have to do is add this layer of training, what I call bridge courses, so that you relate that mechanical engineer or that civil engineer or that chemical engineer to where they are used in the semiconductor industry. And that can be done with 1 or 2 courses as an elective maybe 4th year. And that will, I think, really help.
Okay, so let me take up from where Sushobhan mentioned about the hopeful future ahead. So I got a little bit of statistics for people who are not fully up to speed on the semiconductor industry, current worldwide available market and all that. You probably must be hearing numbers like 600 billion, more than $500 billion kind of dollars worth of services available market is there for semiconductor industry. And that has grown in the last 4 decades, so to speak. So then you hear about somebody who is really up to speed on this one, we're talking about semiconductors, is advanced nodes into single nanometers and all that. It's starting to saturate, very few number of companies working in that area. If you are really detached and looking only at these kind of things and say, oh yeah, this is kind of a saturated industry or saturation mode, I don't know what is the future. It's actually wrong. The thing I will tell you itself is clearly, I think Dr. Sridhar, you know, the explicit scenario about during the COVID time, when we all realized the word of semiconductors itself, how important it is in our job, kind of daily life itself, kind of, automobiles were not able to be coming on the street because before the chip was not around $40,000 car. So start just from the day, when you wake up till the evening kind of thing, how many gadgets you are doing? And it is an explosion of the semiconductors that's happening across the world kind of thing. And the projection itself is whatever happened in the last 40 years is going to happen again. A doubling of the industry is going to happen in the next 10 years or a decade at least. So, and doesn't mean that it has to go down in the advanced nodes and whatever single nanometer and all that. And whatever is currently there itself, one of the things, a company like ours, which is a European foundry, global foundries, we do not go down the single nanometer road, but we do see a bright future ahead based on differentiated and specialty technologies. So, a country like India, where we are probably with the India Semiconductor Mission, just now starting to get our hand in the game of semiconductor manufacturing and design. You should not feel that we are too late, too little. The semiconductor future is still very much there on whatever we need to be doing in the older technology nodes through differentiation. And what is required, what are the skills required for that? And the skills required is primarily, to some extent, patience on people who have chosen this passion of semiconductors, which is take put to play. When you start, I think Dr. Sridhar touched upon a very good thing. At an early stage in the school level and all that, people, some students may have very good interest in science and they may end up taking the BCMCs and BCMCs and those kinds of techniques. But after that, they slowly start engaging from that into really where the jobs are. Maybe they're going away from the hardware sector. And that awareness needs to be put into them, saying that that's not true. There is job opportunities going to happen in the semiconductor or electronic space broadly. And it is very exciting because, see, once you start connecting it with what you are making it happen, because anything like this one is not going to happen without a hardware you need. So, with that, let me hand it back to
Thank you, Vipin. Having a couple of points which came up, semiconductor industry is very important. Just to give a fact that the world's 3 top companies across any sector are Nvidia, Apple and Microsoft. Barring last 2 weeks, I think all of them crossed $3 trillion market cap. And all of them are semiconductor companies, right? We may not consider Microsoft and Apple to be semiconductor companies, but they make enough chips to be top 10 semiconductor companies. So today, top 3 companies in the world with more than $3 trillion market cap minus last 2 weeks, right? Are semiconductor companies. Secondly, I think everybody pointed to the fact that we need to inculcate the art of building something very early in the school, right? We see a lot of kids making apps and all of those things. Nobody taught them basically what is Java, what is Node.js and everything, but they still go learn by themselves and make an app, right? So the Semiconductor last week we basically conducted an event in collaboration with New Horizon School, family of school. About 10 schools participated, about 50 teams and 200 kids from 5th grade to 11th grade. And we asked them to build something, whatever they felt like. And they built such a wonderful product, right? Even a 5th year student made a product for agriculture, automatic agriculture using Arduino, and he knew how the SPI works, ITC works, right? Not just basically top level. So potential is there. We need to expand this basically interest. Third thing is that I think Professor Sushobhan mentioned about India Semiconductor mission. So one aspect of that which relates to the education in 2020, even before the Semiconductor mission started, right? Couple of us, like Director of IT Delhi, myself, some of us got together and suggested to AICT to start a branch in electronics and real estate design. Okay, covering the semiconductor and electronics together, because since last 15-20 years, when we had an EC branch, right, there was no basically innovation in new branches, and EC is hardly any communication now, right? Basically, outer game is electronics and communication engineering, but there's hardly any communication because there are no jobs for communication, right? But research semiconductor job was a new branch in undergraduate that started B.Tech in electronics and real estate design with focus on electronics, semiconductor and chip design, right? About 350 institutes are signed up to offer basically in this branch, and since a lot of academic communities here, we would like you to basically take a look and offer this, because I think our kids are much more ready to basically embark into these advanced subjects than we were, right? I went to college and somebody said, you go to this branch, I will be totally lost, but our kids are much more ready for that, right? That is kind of basically key points I got from all of the panelists here. Now, a little bit broadening the topic, right? India consumes $200 billion of electronics, and the projection is that basically by 2047, we call fixed Bharat 2047, right? We will be consuming almost $3 trillion of electronics, right? But unfortunately, after the $200 billion, only about 10% is basically made by Indian companies, which are Indian products, right? 90% are global products, right? Just a show of hands. How many of you are carrying a phone which is of Indian brand? Zero, right? How many of you are carrying a phone which is Chinese brand? Please. I think 90% of the time you will say that you say Oppo, Vivo, OnePlus, and so many, right? So today, cell phone is a representative of electronics products, right? And we have less than 1% of representation of Indian brands in the cell phone industry, right? 76% is Chinese, about 13% is Samsung, and rest is Apple, right? That's the situation, right? So now, going forward, if we want to be called a developed nation, we cannot be basically just not having our own products, right? So just wanted to get panelists' view that how do we, because I believe that we have now 3 mass basically in the country. We have a very huge market, okay, and that goes to the dialogue from Diwar, where past hai. So we have 3 mass, right? We have very good market, we have very good manpower, and we have basically electronics manufacturing is established, semiconductor manufacturing is coming. But without power, we cannot complete the family, right? So we have power but no power, right? So how do we make India transform from just service or manufacturing to more of a product nation, right? Whether it's basically electronics level products or semiconductor chip level products, right? Basically, panellists view about that.
Sorry, I made the point already. The product build mindset need to be inculcated, and that's the reason we are creating the intervention at the undergrad level and ensuring that the boards and reference design kits that we are handing it over. So, just building on to yes. So we need to see more of here, more of kind of the idea of focus here. We need to create a lot of product company poster children. That's how I would put it. So you will have to catch them early and then make them build the products. That's how it is.
Saying quickly, I think having said that, we inculcate interest in the kids when they are in school and then try to nurture the talent when they come to the plus 2 and the B.Tech level. I'd like to phrase it out as first year, they should be given some sort of a hands-on training. Second year, they probably use the boards to ensure that what they need to come out as part of the product. And it will be one of the best things to happen in case an undergrad student can come out with a takeout by the time he graduates, which will be one of the best things to happen in the Indian academy. We have not heard of a takeout till date. I think we should probably go ahead and do that. And this is what we academicians should probably look forward to amongst the student community with the able help of the semiconductor industry.
Yeah. Yes, for the people who are not from semiconductor industry, takeout means you design a complete chip and then you send it for manufacturing to a foundry or basically professional to one can see. That's called takeout. So you complete a complete design like the processor design or basically some kind of chip design, and when it is all verified and ready to manufacture, that's when we call it takeout. Sushobhan.
So since Aryan asked what we should do, I'm a big fan of projects. I think this exam-based model is going to be purpose. Industry or life does not really work like that. There is no real time pressure. People who think slow don't do worse in life. And exam sort of highlights past thinking, sort of cracking mindset. I have to crack the exam instead of cracking the problem. So I'm a big fan of projects. I think it will go very far. Many of our engineering schools and curriculum have projects as the end goal instead of exams. There's also an ecosystem aspect to it. I'm hopeful in the way that the reason products don't come out is because the ecosystem is weak. Once the ecosystem becomes stronger, I think naturally this will happen. I'll give you a very specific example, just like on takeout. Takeouts are very common in Taiwan. They are common in Taiwan because the SMC completely supports it and subsidizes it. I think once we have our own local champions, they themselves will open this up and then we will be able to do this in a much more scalable fashion. But I'm actually hopeful. We should do it. I'm not saying it will automatically happen. But once the ecosystem improves, these things will also happen.
I think I just want to bring up the perspective also on this one. When you start thinking about product mindset and trying to make it hands-on, it has to be relevant to the current thing also. I mean, it cannot be. So I mean, this is where probably there is going to be a balance that may be required because academia generally is very forward-looking, trying to prepare the student community for much more talent ahead. But industry, as the previous panel also was talking about, is really interested in them now also. So I think once you get that balance right, especially when you are talking about the opportunities within India, exactly. And let me bring one thing which everybody must be aware of. India probably is one of the fastest growing electronic automotive markets out there. And you just walk around and just look at the vehicles which have the green tag versus the non-green tag. That itself should trigger something in your mind. As somebody was saying, it's becoming more and more electronic. Are we doing enough within India, within the faculty and the industry to collaborate together to tap into that market and try to make it successful? So that will bring up that relevant projects and relevant hardware hands-on experience also with it. And I can tell you, coming from the semiconductor manufacturing company, we are more than happy to really kind of define those problems. What is exactly required? Whether it is a power management, IC kind of solution that is required in a new material, whatever is required for the coming future kind of thing. And that can be done with a collaboration between industry and academia. I think that will definitely bring the research and take us forward.
So, kind of everybody emphasize that we should have some kind of project-based courses in our engineering education. So, Sushobhan and I was part of the team which defined the AICTE model curriculum for electronics and data design. And one thing we found, we should make this as a point. So, we have introduced a course of a maker's lab in the first semester. So, as soon as basically kids go from a 12th grade to first semester, they will be building something, whatever they feel like building. It could be a mechanical system, it could be a drone, it could be a robot, it could be any kind of a system. This will be a regular course, and more institutes are adopting even for the branches, not electronics and VLSI that. Like IIT Bombay has basically put it as a basically part of their engineering curriculum, then all the branches have to do this thing. So whatever thing to the academic community that basically please adopt this as a first semester course so kids can build something as early as basically they get into engineering education. Two things, they will learn something and their interest in education will also grow, and from there they can decide they want to focus on chip design, electronics or mechanical. That will basically give them some direction also. So that was the point number one. We had basically talked about takeout. So VLSI Society is working with Global Foundry to target basically supporting 100 takeouts even before basically we get our own foundry and basically Global Foundry to basically take the student projects and basically create a support system up to 100 takeouts and multi-project wafer. So any institutes which are basically in that realm, I think they can attend. And third thing is that this school competition, which I thought a lot of people do, we are going to, this year we did pilot 10 schools only, right? Next year, basically, we are going to announce it in January, but next June we want to expand it to basically at least 100 schools in Karnataka and take it to other states also. So I think we will be reaching out to basically college can be anchors and each one can mentor basically 10 schools. And that's how we can scale it up for basically getting at least 2,000 to 5,000 school kids to do this kind of projects, and we will support them with the kids like Arduino and all of those kind of things from the VLSI Society and industry. I think we cannot complete this panel without talking about industry, academia, collaboration. I think Professor Sridhar Gupta talked about it. I think previous panel also talked about it. I think, and since I have basically been in the industry, this is a topic of the discussion, right? I think rather than talking about big things around this topic, if you can take small steps to basically make this reality, right? Like this tape out, school projects and things like that. But I would like to get basically panels 1 minute view that how we can make it practical rather than being basically very big theoretical subject. What small steps you can take which can be practically implemented basically to create better collaboration between industry and the public.
I would say a lot has changed over the years, Satya, between industry and academia from the day we have been interacting versus now. There are, if you look at industry perspective, there are a lot of real-time problem statements that are being given and then tried with the academia, for which, for various reasons, in industry is not having time or not having bandwidth or whatever. To that level, it is improved, is what I would say from the time, at least 2001.
What more can be done?
Yeah. What more can be done? I mean, we would always be feeling this gap, whatever we want to call it, right? Because industry is changing at that fast pace, and so academia, I mean, we will have to continue the collaboration. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Specific actions which we can do to take some small steps to increase improve the situation and it will be better, right?
Sure. One good thing that's happening over the years is industry academia interaction largely remained on paper, but now it is turned into a reality. Industry is knocking at the doors of academia, and academia is extending its hand to join hands with the industry to make something win-win. The first point I would like to request the industry to do is, we want to create a curriculum which is more hands-on, less theory. That would be a huge win for the academia, because students also would love to do something hands-on. They really understand and appreciate the learning. That is one thing. The second thing is, please come to our institutions quite frequently. Let's not remember each other to supply manpower when you need it. So I would like to have a continuous relationship with the industry, because sorry to say this, even today, despite me making this statement to all the industries that visit campus, we have over 300 industries which visit us year on year. So I make a very fervent appeal to the industries to please remember us day in and day out. We will have a continuous relationship with you, and we'll be happy to join hands with the industry to make something made available to the younger generation, because I think there's a lot of talent in the younger generation today. We need to identify, nurture, and then ensure that it is made available to the society at large. And courses from you, yes, we will probably take some tips from you to introduce new courses. Please train our teachers, and the teachers will in turn teach the students in the classrooms. And please come and train our students again to ensure that you get the best talent available to the industry.
From my side, basically, we are already working with PES, and we plan to do more, not just personally, but we will bring the industry to your door to do more of what you asked for.
Yeah, beyond PES as well.
Yeah. No, again, small step, right? If I promise that we will work with 1,000 institutes, I think that's not.
Yeah. I know that we will be taking baby steps.
So I come from a department called Center for Nanoscience. I think they're pretty good industry relations. So what I do is just take 3 specific examples of stuff we are already doing. So one of the first things we have started doing is we started doing a lot of industry training for the new graduate hires. That sort of works 2 ways. From GFS visited us just last month. For the whole month, the first 130 graduate trainees from Tata Electronics Corporate Division that they have just hired, they were come for training in 2 cents. Just a discussion on curriculum of what we have to teach them sort of illuminates both sides. Because one thing that led to is, statistical process control, AI, data management is extremely critical in a modern fab. So that discussion meant we created some new curriculum for just the trainees of Tata, but then we converted that into a new course that is getting lost in all this. So I think that interaction, where you gain something, I gain something, is a very interesting way to deal with it. The second thing I would like to highlight is one of, there was talk about getting to the kids early. One of the most successful ways in which we can signal to the students community that there are good jobs at the end is to have scholarships. And all of these scholarships, for example, we have a scholarship which is funded by TEL, Applied Materials, Lab Research. Okay, but point is, when the ad goes out from Sense, the ad says Masters Fellowships from these companies, the hint being that clearly means these companies are hiring in this area. So nothing signals something like a scholarship available. And all of this can come from CSR budget, which is eminently available in most countries. Third point, one thing that has been very useful to create this engagement of coming often is we have an academic affiliate program. All the industries who are affiliates, we actually invite them to our student symposium. We invite them for our PhD defense talks. We invite them whenever we have a technical talk. And that back and forth, they come and use our facilities. We have pretty good labs. So all of that creates this back and forth that leads to discussions over coffee and leads to more engagement. There's sort of a sinking ladder there.
Okay, I think we are our time is up, so I'll make it short. And I think industry academy relations, as Chitra was correctly saying, this definitely has been improving over the past years. But to make it really scalable, the current mode of engagement, what we generally tend to have between one industry, one academy, those kind of things, needs to be thought in a different way, kind of thing, more like a consortium engagement kind of thing. Because otherwise, us industry and as well as the faculty in the different year one institutes and all that tend to kind of do whatever they need to do for their immediate needs. So to take it to the next level, I think we should build upon this relationship and create a platform where I think Chitra was mentioning about various chapter we're trying to bring together all the different academy together. And then bring the industry also at the same panel and try to make sure that we do have much more scalable interaction. It doesn't mean that it has to be a competition between the academy and everything. An industry can fund multiple academia for different aspects of a given problem. If we can come to that kind of a model, I am absolutely sure we will get to the next level of industry academy.
Thank you. Just my point on this thing is that one of the most effective way which basically US and other people have adopted is internship. Right? To create a better basically synergy between academia and industry. We are also moving in that direction with a new project and everything, but I think just what Vipin was saying is very fragmented one to one, right? If we can work together, industry, academia, and the platforms like basically iPod, CareerNet, and I remember in 2024 we launched something like Campus Connect with basically you guys, right? Now, what I am looking for is we can create a internship platform just like Campus Connect, what we did basically 15 years back, so that suppose Global Foundry has to look for 50 interns, they don't have to go to 10 institutes because they can reach only to 10 institutes. How do we create that reach much bigger by creating an internship platform, especially for electronics and semiconductor industry? If we can conceive something like that and enlist basically 100 companies and 1,000 institutes on that platform, I think we can create a much more systematic way and create equal opportunity to all the institutes, whether it's basically very far away, basically Nagaland or somewhere, right? Because it's very difficult for companies to go to Nagaland and hire interns from there, right? So what I request is basically with the help of good friends, Rohit, Akshuman, and rest of the academia, if we can create this platform, I think that will create a real contribution to both academia and industry in streamlining the internship projects, right? And a lot of our companies are hiring a lot of interns, but it's very ad hoc, as Vipin said, one-to-one basis, right? Can we institutionalize this? With that, there are many other topics which we wanted to cover, like faculty development and other things, but I think this is a very vast subject. So, with that, and basically hoping that we will reach to $3 trillion of electronics in 2047 with a potential of 10 crore direct and indirect job. That's the projection, which will be about 15% of our workforce, right? At that time. Thank you so much. I don't think we have time for questions.
Can we have one or two questions in case there are any questions from the audience? In case if you have any question, you can kindly please raise your hand. Otherwise, we can take the questions offline as well if we have more questions now. But it looks like everybody is hungry. But we have one question right there. Could you please pass on the mic, please?
Just introduce yourself, short.
Very good afternoon, one and all. I am Dr. Nirmal Jalannath from Sushobhan University, Mumbai. My first question is, if you see the aspiration of the students who are going to take admission in engineering, most of the students would like to go for computer or computer related branches. So here, the entire merit goes for these type of branches. for getting the students for electronics, electrical, for core branches, either we have to make it electronics and computer or mechanical and computer, anyhow instead of. So these type of issues are there. And if we say a school curriculum, my second point, school curriculum, because the computer is very much introduced from standard 1 to standard 10, like fundamental of computer programming, how to deal with these critical issues.
Who wants to take it up?
I can give you my opinion. I think this will change. The day the headline says Tata Electronics or Global Foundries, I as an undergrad at 50 lakh package. I am very glad. That day this problem will be solved, and I think the students are correct in responding to that incentive. It is not their fault, it is ours.
Yeah. I would say that we need to create more awareness, and that's why this the high school student level, catching them early and making them tinker around and build product, and those things would help. That's what I would say. That way they are inclined towards electronics, right? Inclined towards hardware, right? They have to be able to make them see something in action, right? That's how I would put it.
But madam, if we see the overall placement of the IT and computer, specifically placement in the IT sector, which is really higher as compared to these branches. People are getting 50 lakh, 1.5 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 crore, 1.5 crore rupees package.
Package thing is very basically misleading because there is only 1% of the people, right? If you look at the median package, median or average package, right? It is always higher in these specialized areas like semiconductor and all of those things, right? Second thing which you said makes sense that basically we introduce like Python programming and all those things to the 10th grade and so on and so forth, right? Why don't we create some basically courses or projects like what I was saying is that maybe competitions for the students to create something. Third thing I would say that anybody who has studied semiconductor courses well in their B.Tech or M.Tech is guaranteed at least 10 lakh rupees job per annum, right? I think that's the kind of the demand. If you have studied it properly during your B.Tech or M.Tech, right? Semiconductor or VLSI design, I think the guarantee of very high paying job is much better than the software. Numbers may not be that big, but if you have really studied those subjects, your chances of getting a job and chances of getting very high paying job are probabilistically much higher than software alone, right? That's my listing, and we can discuss this more offline, right? I will give you more data on this thing, but that's the real situation.
Well, with that, I would like to thank all the dignitaries on stage. Thank you so much for the wonderful discussion. Let's have a big round of applause to them.